Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Now then, everybody, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm still at Butlins, but wanted to come on this morning, do a quick little shit vid and speak about how I'm feeling ahead of the final hours of the transfer window. It's a little bit worrying. I'm one of those, I've said it before on this channel. I'm a football fan. I'm not into all this side chasing players, looking at players in detail, worried about PSR. I'm a football fan, so whatever team lines up on that field, I'll back them, and I'll try and have faith in whatever side we put out that they'll do the business. And like I say, first and foremost, I'm a football fan, and that's what I want to watch. But obviously, when you're into football and you enjoy football and you know a little bit about it, you obviously know the lineup, the squad, the shape of the team going into a game, whether it's worthy of winning the match and picking up enough points to survive. And obviously, you've got to give yourself the best opportunity for that. What I'll say is, early in the window, I felt quantity-wise, we ticked a lot of boxes early on. I felt like we got enough bodies in. We kept a lot of bodies too, so the squad looked decent in terms of numbers. The quality's always been a bit of a worry. As we've got through the window, we sort of started being touted with better quality players. The Pajal, which obviously didn't go through, we've been linked with back. We've been linked with a lot of decent players. And just hit the post on a few of them, not quite got there on some of them. Maybe we're never linked, maybe a lot of it with agent talk, but there's been some exciting names out there. And now we're getting to that stage now where in the final moments, the final day of the transfer window, and I think we haven't recruited enough quality, and I don't think we're going to bring in a needle mover or two today, in my opinion. As of recording this, it's now 10:30 in the morning. There's every chance that by the time this goes out, by the time it's uploaded with this internet speed in the caravan, that something's happened or there's a new name link. But as of right now, I'm hearing whispers of Wilson coming from Fulham. It's a bit of I don't mind him as a footballer. We've been linked with him in the past. I wouldn't have minded him at championship level. Harry Wilson's a technically gifted footballer. He's been around for a long time. Remember him infamously playing for Derby in that game, along with Jadon Bogle, and a few others that have gone on to have good careers. But he's a set piece taker. Obviously, Harry Wilson, it is just a whisper at the minute, but he can play in the cam. He can play on the right wing. I wouldn't want him, but what I will say is he is a better option than a Brendan Aronson, who's currently a 10-stroke right winger in our squad. So he's better than Aronson. So that's a positive if we are in fact in for someone like Harry Wilson. But again, he definitely is not of the quality of player I was expecting Leeds to be linked with. I'm really not too sure if I'd fancy him coming, to be honest. But like I say, he's better than what we've got in terms of Aronson, but he isn't. It wouldn't be a starter in my opinion. And I'm sort of looking at these last few days. I was thinking, can we bring a couple of quality starting additions into the side? And it looks like, for me, it might be a panic buy or two today. I don't see anyone coming in my opinion, that isn't a loan with an option or an obligation. Maybe I'll be proved wrong, but I just think we've had that many months, weeks, days to sort something big out, and we haven't been able to get it over the line for whatever reason. What's the chances now with Leeds being able to go out there and spend 15, 20, 25 million on some top draw players within hours left of the window? I just don't see it personally. I've also seen these couple of private jets booked and stuff today, which happens all the time, and a lot of the time it leads to nothing. But I've seen one booked from Birmingham, so a lot of people getting happy about potentially Buendia coming in again, a player who I wouldn't have wanted before, but you get into those final moments again, and maybe it's something we need to be open to, Buendia coming on loan. Obviously, a couple of days ago I said Heyman looked like he was coming. He has been in talks with Leeds United, 100% fact. Him and his representatives have spoke to Leeds United. He's someone I was hoping we'd get. And he'd be my number one target today with Gus Hamer, because I think he is a bit of a needle mover for us. A Buendia, I'd feel a second option to a Hamer. A Wilson will feel a third, fourth option to them too as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where we actually go with this. And while I'm recording this, I've just seen a tweet from Graham Smith, our probably most trustworthy and likely local journalist to report something, saying that Leeds have a few possibilities, but he doesn't know any names, or isn't going to mention any names to be clickbait. Obviously, we are trying. We know that. No new there at all. We know there'll be a few possibilities. We're going to be targeting, I would assume, 2 or 3 today, just in case 1 or 2 fall through. We definitely need at least 1 in that attacking option. But he's also said that Darko Jaby's off to Hull, and Lorient are working on something for Meslier. We know Meslier is the biggest outgoing probably that's going to happen today. That needs to happen for him. If we can recoup a bit of money for that would be, for him, it'd be great. Help with PSR and all that. But what I didn't want to see from one of our local journals was to tweet something out that didn't name a player or say anything's close. Just saying what we already know. Leeds will be working tirelessly, obviously, to bring in an option or 2. 100%. We know that's happening right now, even though it doesn't feel like it. But then to see Darko James off to Hull, couldn't give a shit. Melia's off to Lorient. If I'm honest, don't give a shit. It's a bit of a concern. Don't get me wrong, the local journals don't always get all the information. You'd like to think they would, but they don't. It comes out on the continent a lot, as we know. Sometimes it comes from the selling side. First it leaks to their journals and we get our news through them, and then sometimes our local ones are the last to know. But yeah, as we know, we will be working on deals, but it's not been a good start today. We've seen obviously today as well, Sunderland have are bringing in 2 great players. The lad up front from Ajax, can't remember his name now. Really good signing. I looked at his bits this morning. Looks a decent option for them. They late last night. They lose Guy got back to Chelsea. Were probably their 3rd choice centre forward, and then they bring in, I think it's Brody. They're bringing bringing a player from Ajax who probably now starts for them. It's better than what they've just lost, which is incredible. Sunderland have gone out there and gone in gun ho, and I think now Sunderland, you'd have to say, have a squad that is better than ours. I would say they're a lot more work to do than us. A lot more work, and they've done it. Leeds probably currently at this time of recording now have one of the worst squads in the league. In terms of being a bottom 3 side, squad wise, we do have a side which should finish in the bottom 3 now. That doesn't mean to say we will. I still will back the boys every week. We go away to Fulham, and I think that'll be an harder game than we had against Newcastle. But I are going to back us to lose anyway. In any game, we are going to lose games. But if we play at the best of our abilities, and some of these sides are slightly off it, we can pick up points along the way. Sides of a lot worse quality than what we currently have stayed in the division. Marcelo Bielsa's team, that didn't have the quality to a degree this side has. Yeah, we had Rafinha, we had certain players who were class, but as a squad, we had kids on bench. I'd say our squad is better now than that, but our manager's nowhere near the level of that manager, Marcelo. So, it depends which way you look at it, but sides have stayed up with less quality than Leeds, so I've got to believe that Leeds can do that. I can't live my life with a glass half empty, because it just drags me down. So I've got to back the boys who take the field, but whether it's a Farkin issue, a 49ers issue, I would say we're looking really good. I'd say maybe a month ago, I would at a 7 out of 10, thinking there was still a month to go in terms of the window rating. I was really happy where we've been. It's only been these last few days, really, I've started panicking a bit, thinking we ain't got nowhere near, especially after last week with the Arsenal Wednesday result. Newcastle result gives me a bit more confidence, but if I'm honest, I think you could field 11 local amateur lads who are from Leeds at Ellen Road, and we'd give it a fight and we'd pick up some points at Ellen Road, because just Ellen Road, Leeds, it's got to be a fortress, and we'll fight for every ball and till full time whistle at Ellen Road. I've got no doubts at Ellen Road we will pick up points. But in general, over the course of the full season, with the away games in there, and some of the sides who we think will be fighting down the bottom end of the table with Leeds United, they've got some decent players there, and it's going to be really hard to pick up points. So away from home, that's my worry. Can we do it? And with the squad we've got, it's a big ask. So all I've really wanted is the 49ers to sort of help Farker out, help the current squad out with a little bit more quality in key areas, because we are lacking no matter what we say. The defence got sorted fairly quickly by the backup, which we brought in with James Justin. The midfield's been sorted for a long time, and I think the injuries have made it look a bit weaker now, but those 5 are sound. I'm really happy with that. But the number 10 role, it's been an issue now for a fair few years since Pablo vacated. It's an issue that's been there for Farker all last season too. And it's a position that I thought was the most obvious one, you know, all summer. It was the most obvious one. Blatant lack of quality in there. You can't go with Aronson as a 10. That's why they've changed formation for me. The physicality needs to be a thing. We've changed the formation because, let's be fair, if we'd have had an absolute baller in the 10 who were there last year, if we'd have signed Hamer last season and he'd have got incredible numbers in Championship, I don't think we'd have changed formation. We've had to change formation based on the fact we haven't got a decent 10 in the club, and physicality is a massive problem. But if you've got a 10 who's physically capable too, as well as being that needle mover, then we probably don't change formation to a 4-3-3. But we've had no choice. Farker's had no choice because we haven't got a 10 capable of being a decent Premier League option. And that probably comes out in the 49ers. You know, we've been linked with numerous 10s and we've had all this time. We've got money and we haven't done it. So that's my worry. The 10 needs to be brought in today. A right winger, ideally too. But yeah, the news so far is little whispers of Harry Wilson, better than Aronson, but not a needle mover. The Buendia and Hamer rumours will always rumble on until the window closes. I'm hoping we get one of them two through the door. My choice will be Hamer, but it's more likely to be Buendia. Solomon, it's come out on the Tottenham side this morning that he will be staying at Tottenham. Thomas Frank wants to see a bit more of him. He's done enough to warrant staying at Tottenham till at least January, I guess. Don't think he'll get many minutes at Spurs, I really don't. But he's contracted there. He wanted to stay there and fight for his place. It looks like he may have just done enough there to get the nod to stay. That could change though as the window, you know, as the day draws to a close. Spurs are still linked with a lot of players. If they bring someone in, Solomon may all of a sudden become available. I would be surprised if he's available and he was to leave the club. I would be surprised if he went anywhere other than Leeds United. I think if Solomon stays at Spurs, fair enough. I think if Solomon leaves Spurs, I think he comes to Leeds. And that left-hand side's already too top-heavy. You'll find that meaning that Nonto then goes to be second choice right behind James, or fighting for that first spot with James, and Solomon becomes another number and option on that left-hand side with Okafor. So Solomon's a player I don't think we really need. We need a right winger and a 10. But if he leaves Tottenham, I think he comes to Leeds, but by all accounts, he isn't leaving. So for me, I'd love Hamer. Strikers have gone really quiet. I'm not too sure. The lad from Krasnodar, I think it is, in Russia, they came out today and said he's not for sale either. So yeah, we are, I think, scratching around the Buendia, Solomon, Harry Wilson, Josh Sargent sort of market. I feel like it's going to just be a case of getting a couple of bodies in now, and the quality's not going to be as we wanted. But yeah, watch this space. We'll see how old this video is by the time it uploads. But yeah, take care, everyone. I'll do a bit of a video tonight once the window slams shut to see where we are. Hopefully, we get one or two decent options in and proves me and a lot of Leeds fans wrong that we've known what we're doing, and this would just end it there. We've got an exciting deadline day, stressful as it is. How many times do we sort of look at it and think they won't do? No, we're not sure they need. This time we definitely need, and we know they're definitely looking. So we will see. But yeah, take care. Have a good day, guys. Leeds.